Hello, Tarot Tribe, and welcome to the Moon Arrow Tarot channel. Today, I am so excited to share with you guys the Mushroom Hunters Tarot deck by Joe Buckley. I unfortunately missed out on this deck by like a week on Kickstarter, so I attempted to reach out to the artist on Instagram, and I guess a lot of other people were in the same boat because he ended up creating a secondary list for people who missed out, and we were like a second shipment after printing of the deck after it was funded on Kickstarter. So while I do not do any readings with this deck because it is so special to me, I really enjoy just looking at the cards and reading the meanings in the book. So I'm excited to share that with you guys today. And we'll talk about, just some quality features of this, and of course the artistry, the color palette, how beautiful that is, and some details in the book. So let's get into it. To start, let's talk about this box. This is one of those like quality hard cardboard boxes, reminiscent of what you would get with Apple products, what they're packaged in. So nice, thick, durable box, not one of those cheap, flimsy tuck boxes. I love these type of boxes, this type of packaging when artists choose this. It shows that they care about their deck. It shows that they care about the product that they're creating, and it just comes across just very quality. So on the front, we have the deck title, what is a good looking mushroom spore print, and then the artist's name. It says at the bottom, created by Joe Buckley, in this little frame on the front as well. And these details are done in what looks like a silver foil, and the same for all the other features on this lid portion of the box. The title is mirrored on left and right sides, and then on the top and the bottom, just a smaller spore print also in that silver foil. Going to the back, the base of the box, we have, I think now this is in black ink, the title of the deck again, 6 of the cards depicted from the deck. We've got the Fool, the Magician, the Lovers, the 3 of Cups, the World, and the Queen of Cups. So I'll give you guys a good look at those there. And beneath that, it says a complete 78 card tarot deck and guidebook featuring mushrooms from all around the world. And then a little peek at the symbols for each of the elements for the deck. And then at the bottom, it has the copyright, the artist's name, the website, and where it was written, illustrated, and printed. Before I take the lid off completely, on the base of the box, mirrored on the left and right sides, we have got those same 4 elemental symbols, and then on the top and the bottom, just those smaller spore prints. But it is just reversed, the ink that was used, so it looks as though it is the same ink as the coloration of the paper, the background coloring on the lid of the box, which is kind of like a deep wine color or a maroon or burgundy. But it also reminds me, if you've ever grown mushrooms or seen spore prints yourself, it looks very much like one of those deep purple spore prints. It's just a nice soothing color. So when we take this lid off, nothing on the inside. It's just typical white there. They didn't line the inside lid with any of that paper. They didn't continue it, kept it pretty simple. Here's our little white book. And so with this, again, it's following that same color theme, the white and that deep maroon purple spore color. And on the front of our book, we've got the deck title, the deck name, the spore print, and the artist's name. And on the back, same things as on the back of the base of the box, artist's name, the website, and where it was written and illustrated. we open the book inside, and we have a foreword by the artist. I'm not going to go through the entire book with you guys, but pretty standard little white book stuff. We've got how to use the deck. There are spreads in there that the artist has provided, talking about reversals, and also just a little FYI note that he included about mushroom identification, and basically trying to portray, like, in no way is this deck supposed to be used as a resource for identifying mushrooms or trying to find, you know, what mushrooms are edible. That's not its intended purpose. And then some additional further reads on the back as recommendations. So I will read this forward from the artist to you guys because I thought it's pretty cute. So we'll get into that. Forward. The Mushroom Hunter's Tarot is a fungi-themed deck of 78 cards, each represented by its own unique mushroom. Ever since moving to the Pacific Northwest, whoop, whoop, I've become fascinated by the world of mushrooms. They're full of such magic and wonder. Each mushroom has its own story to tell and its own purpose in our world. And what better way to tell their stories than through the art of tarot? I was perpetually surprised by the relationships between the tarot archetypes and the mushrooms I chose to represent them. From famed mushrooms like the fly agaric and the golden chanterelle to obscure fungi such as the fluted bird's nest and the bleeding fairy helmet, 78 mushrooms found their home here. This deck, I believe, should not be limited to those interested in tarot. The Mushroom Hunter's Tarot is perfect for those who simply want to learn more about mushrooms, as this guide contains both the common and scientific names of each mushroom, as well as some fun facts about them. These cards can also be used as a learning tool. The more you use the deck, the more you'll be able to recognize each mushroom without having to refer to this book. The Mushroom Hunter's Tarot is a highly usable deck for beginner and experienced tarot readers alike. I think you'll find the cards to be intuitive. The more you learn about the mushrooms, the more connections you'll find with their corresponding cards. I hope this deck brings you the same joy and enlightenment that making it has brought me. Much love, Fungi Joe. And so that's that. I will mention there are no pictorial images in this deck, no pictorial portrayals of the cards in here. But I think it makes up for that just because of the whole premise of how it was created. Having all of the associations of each of the mushrooms to the cards, and the artist really chose to use the space within this book to give backgrounds on each of those mushrooms, which is really special. But each card is included with some keywords. It's a bit of a traditional association in terms of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck. And then, of course, like I mentioned, the background of the mushroom itself, what it's known for, things like that. Some fun facts on the mushrooms. So we'll look a couple of those up as we get to them. So let us get into this deck. On the card backs, we've got that singular spore print. Now this is in white ink. It is not a foil. This looks to be either a matte finish or maybe I don't know that I would really call this a semi-gloss, maybe like it's not even a satin. It is just more of a matte. If you guys have the Lightseers Tarot, it's exactly like that. It has that paper cardstock feel to it, but it's smooth. It's not a soft touch like that velvet. It's not that. But I would say overall, I'm not a cardstock snob, but I would say overall it has a good feel to it. If you guys can see, I'm going to try not to manipulate these too much because like I said, I don't do readings with this deck. It's just really a special deck for me to look at. If I had one thing that I could change about it though, even though I don't do readings, I'm just not a big fan of standard tarot card size. My hands are too small for that. So I would love to see this deck in a mini version. That would be awesome. But that is it in my small hands. I'll holding it from this, so it's a stretch for me to like, and there's no way I could hold this whole deck in my whole hand there, but like that. And then I'll take a small portion of the cards out so you guys can see the bendability there, flexibility of the cards. There's some bend. They have a nice feel to them with a shuffle, and they are, reposition them back, they are relatively thick. They're a good thick cardstock, I would say. Definitely not cheapy paper, thin or flimsy. They do have a nice feel to them. I would say, me personally, I prefer a matte deck to a super shiny glossy deck. I think that some high gloss decks can be a little too slippery, and I prefer a little stiffness, and I don't know what else to call it, like a little bit of a stick to the cards. So that is, in a nutshell, I guess, the quality and the backs of the cards. Let's get into this fun flip through. So we will start off here with the Fool and then go from there. I'm going to try to get these up as close to you guys as possible. And one of my favorite things, and probably definitely one of the selling points for me when I saw this deck for the first time, was the color palette that the artist used. I instantly fell in love with that. But I thought it was adorable how it also followed the Rider-Waite-Smith theme. Isn't that cute? The little Venus symbol carved into the tree in the background. And the Emperor. And I wish I could, if I had more time, maybe it could be a cool little video in the future to kind of break the deck up into sections and to read the associations of each. I think that's lion's mane mushroom, to go into the association of each card's mushroom description. Wheel of Fortune, and I think that's a fairy ring. No idea what those mushrooms are. That might be a straw mushroom, the Hanged Man. Look at the coloring on there. I just love the subdued, natural inks that the artist chose to use. Temperance, and I think the Devil, I'm not sure if that's the Morel or if that's the false Morel. I think that might be the Morel. And how people can be like a slave to finding those morels and the hunt for them. The Tower, that's a really cool fungus. I think we may have to leave that one out so that it's one of them that we read out of the book. It's got a neat background. The Star, beautiful card. Same with the Moon. Judgment and the World. It's such a cute card. Now we get into the Minor Arcana with the Ace of Swords. I think these are a glow-in-the-dark, a luminescent mushroom. The Blood Tooth fungus, maybe? Maybe we'll have to leave that one out too. Could be a cool one to read up on. We're at the Five of Swords. Also an interesting fungus, but I don't know the name of it offhand. Page, getting into the court cards of the swords. And now we're getting into the cups. 5 of Cups. Which is really neat because the artist chose all different types of cup fungus, mushrooms. These ones, I actually found these ones on a vacation I went on out in the forest. These little egg's nest fungus, they're just so cool if you ever get to find them or see them in person, really neat. Getting into the court cards of the cups. That's a cool one. The Knight. I really like that Queen of Cups card. Now, apparently I put the wands, sorry guys, the wands are, let's see here, looks like they're, just their court cards are a little out of whack. So get those in there for you so that they're in the same order. Now we are getting into our wands cards. The Ace. The 5 of Wands, really neat. That might be, I think that's Witch's Butter. Now we're getting into the court cards of the wands. This one's kind of cool. For the Knight of Wands and the fire there. The Queen. And I really love the little King of Wands depiction. Now we're getting into the Pentacles. And I should have mentioned earlier, but you notice the symbols that he used at the top of the card. Instead of writing the element on every card. I liked that. Now 5 of Pentacles. And I think he used all truffles, different types of truffles for these. Ten of Pentacles. And now they're court cards. A little page. And the King of Pentacles, which I think is a really great portrayal there, that the hair and the beard and the mustache. Good earthy individual there. Okay, so the 2 cards that I picked out, I wanted to do that as an example for you guys to show how the artist wrote the mushroom meanings in the cards. Not just the card meanings themselves, but basically the special feature of this deck for sure is how the artist chose to write about each card. So pulling up the Tower, and just so you guys can see that card here as I read it. So we've got 16 from the Major Arcana, the Tower. This is portraying zombie ant fungus, the common name, and the mycological name, if I can pronounce this, Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. Infamously known as the zombie ant fungus, the spores of this mushroom will infect and hijack the body of an ant, drain its nutrients, and create a network of cells throughout its body. This allows the fungus to manipulate the ant as though it were a puppet. The fungus then compels the ant to latch onto a leaf or twig 25 centimeters off the ground, where the humidity and temperature are just right for fungal reproduction. Mycelia spreads through the ant's dying body, and when ready, a mushroom will rise up through the ant's head and rupture, and release its spores upon multitudes of others. The zombie ant fungus has been known to lay waste to entire colonies. and then separates into another paragraph. This fungus calls for the toppling of old structures. Sometimes destruction is necessary for important inner changes. There is no escape from this, but you will rebuild, which is so perfect as a depiction of the Tower card itself from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. That's what I love about this deck, is how well the artist associated each mushroom or fungus with the traditional meanings of the cards. It's beautiful. And then the keywords at the bottom for this card that he included: catastrophe, chaos, destruction, interchange, renovation. And I wanted to do one more for you guys. Let's do the Three of Swords. Didn't realize I picked some of the toughest cards of the deck, but I thought the mushrooms themselves were so neat. I wanted to share them. So the Three of Swords, common name, bleeding tooth fungus. And again, let's try not to botch the mycological name, Hydnellum peckii. Looking at this unsettling mushroom, one would be surprised to learn it isn't poisonous. However, it's said to have a bitter taste and is not recommended for consumption. What looks like dripping blood is actually a type of sap that's forced out of the mushroom through an excess absorption of water. The keywords included heartbreak, grief, self-destructive thinking. So in sharing that, I'll give you a little taste of the major arcana and the minor arcana and how the artist chose to associate different types of mushrooms and fungus with the traditional tarot. So if you enjoyed this review and you're interested in this deck, I think from the web address on here, you can go to mushroomhunterstarot.com, and this deck is by Joe Buckley. If you enjoy this review, please give a thumbs up and consider subscribing, because I plan to put out a lot more content and reviews on various decks that I have and more that are incoming. I just love to share these cool pieces of art with you guys. So I'll leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and week. Thank you.